everybody can make a very good move. So you need really to put some effort into it. As far as I can remember, I was always lazy. For beginners, tactics play a much bigger role than for advanced players. What to do after the opening? That's the most important question. Hi guys, and welcome to the Journey to Grandmaster, place where you can improve every aspect of your chess game. First of all, thank you very much for supporting me. We are now growing, we have 1,000 subscribers, and I hope to build a chess community of lovers of the game, which want to improve, which want to train, to learn chess and analyze their games and improve their chess level every day. So let's go on with your questions. The first one is it true that chess is 99% tactics if you're under 2000? Well, I can't agree more with that. It's definitely true, and that is why I always recommend you to train tactics as much as possible because, well, especially at the beginner's level, almost all of the games are decided based on who blundered the most, who blundered less, and so to train your tactics is the best thing you can do to improve your chess level. Definitely until 2000. Afterwards, you should still train that, but after 2000, it's not enough anymore to just train tactics to win your games. You also need to improve other aspects of your chess game. But before, let's say 1000 or 1500, it's definitely one most useful thing for you to do. Okay, the next question. What do you think distinguishes the best chess players from us normies? Yeah, I have thought a little bit about this question, and if I need to give a one-word answer, I would say consistency. Because, well, at some point, everybody can make a very good move. At some point, everybody can make a very, very good game and, yeah, highly above the level that you might have at this point. But the strongest players can find those best moves consistently, like, I don't know, 98% of the time, and play 98% of their games close to perfect. For example, I could play almost a perfect game, but I don't know, maybe once every 25 games, and they can do that 23 out of 25, and you can do it maybe 1 out of 50. But yeah, it's about this consistent high-level chess that they can demonstrate, and that gives them this ability to be among the best and get the highest level. Okay, so the next group of questions is all about training and improvement. The first one is how to reach 2000. And then there are more questions about chess openings, but we will cover that later on. So how to reach 2000? Well, I have made a video dedicated to that with a chess routine. Definitely take a look at it. It's gonna appear somewhere here and here, and the link would be in the description as well. So basically the thing is, like I said, tactics is always the best, so you want to train it as much as you can. There are puzzle race on chess.com, there are some puzzles there as well, there are some puzzles on Lichess or wherever you can find it. There are some books with nice tactics, so whatever you can get your hands on, just solve puzzles every day. That's just gonna change everything. Believe me, you should try it, and with the time you're gonna see the results. Yeah, but apart from that, I wouldn't say that you need to spend too much time on the openings, because at this level it doesn't play such a big role as long as you stick to the key principles which you absolutely must study and learn. And yeah, I have made the videos about this opening principles that you should always follow. We'll also leave the link in the description. So you should develop all of your pieces, you should always fight for the center, you should make sure that your king is safe, and then you should develop all of your pieces as active as possible, as fast as possible, spend just one move on one piece, and you should be good to go, basically. So it's not about memorizing those lines, because it's not gonna help you, especially at this level. The chances are so high that your opponent is gonna make a move that is not as you have memorized it, and then your whole preparation is gone, and you know what to do. So it's much more efficient to learn some principles and then just do the tactics. Also, what really helps to improve your chess level is to study some endgames. That's one best thing you can you can spend time on, pick some good endgame book, or maybe study some videos with endgames. I'm gonna also make some for you, because you understand how the pieces are working, how the connection between the pieces are working, how they interact with each other, and that helps a lot for you to improve. A study plan to prepare for an important chess tournament in a month for 2,200 rated lead chess player. Well, it's already a little bit advanced, and the next question is also in the same direction. So if we are talking about advanced chess, of course, it's time to study some openings for you. So you need really to put some effort into it, to study some lines, to look first of all at your openings. Like, you don't need to study multiple openings, tens of them. You just need to prepare. Like, if you're playing as black, for example, your opponent plays e4, you need to have one very good weapon against it. Let's say you play the Sicilian defense, or you play the French defense. You need to know it, you need to know the key ideas, the main lines, and yeah, that should be good. The same thing against d4. And of course, as white, it's a little bit more difficult, but let's say if you play d4, you have maybe 3 main lines that black could go in, and you need to understand what to do in each of or one of them. But still, I wouldn't make the openings the main focus of your preparation. It's mainly looking back into your games. That's one source that always gives some room for improvement, because you can analyze it, you can try to find your mistakes so you don't repeat it in the future games. It sounds very simple, but it's really something you have to always do, because as a kid, I was always lazy to do that. My coach was always saying you have to analyze really thoroughly and comment every move, why you play this, why haven't you played the right move, and so on. And I was like, yeah, it's so boring. I want just to play chess and enjoy the game. But with the time, I realized that it's really the best thing I can do to improve my level, and I definitely recommend all of you do it. Okay, what else do we have? What should be the daily routine for intermediate players to advanced level over 2000? Yeah, like I said, kind of goes into the same direction. So the videos that I released in terms of chess study plan, chess 30 minutes routine, it's really great. I consider it to be very useful in terms of your chess development, and actually it doesn't depend on the level too much. Of course, like I said, for beginners, tactics play a much bigger role than for advanced players, but other than that, it's always great to do some tactics. It's always great to study some endgames, and yeah, don't put too much focus on the openings. Rather pick maybe a middle game book, strategy book, where you can study the key principles or watch the videos on this channel, because I try to be as useful as possible for you in terms of bringing this understanding. Because yes, you can memorize the variations, you can memorize some positions, some endgames positions, but chess is so rich that you can never memorize it. You should always try to understand it. And that is what, yeah, I'm trying to be of service to you too. Yeah, and of course, well, the way to improve is to subscribe to this channel and watch the videos every week to try to improve your level, because, well, I hope it's really helpful, and the key ideas that I explain help you in your own games to reach your goals. Okay, now we have some opening questions. First of all, what is the best opening for 500, 1000 rated player? And that is quite an easy question for me, because I have just released a video about the best opening for black under 1000, and actually you can use it under 1500, under 2000 as well. So definitely take a look. I'm gonna leave the link in the description. And yeah, that's for black. I really sincerely consider it to be the best, because it's very flexible. So if your opponent plays e4, you play d6, then knight f6, and then e5, and that is called the Philidor defense. A very solid one, a very flexible, and the best thing is, if your opponent plays d4, you still play d6, and knight f6, and e5. It's no longer the Philidor defense, but who cares about the title, right? It's all about understanding those main principles which I explained in the video, and yeah, you just don't need to care about the opening anymore. And that is, especially at the beginner level, very important, because once you develop all of your pieces, once you make sure your king is safe, then using all of the key ideas, you can just start your attack and crush your opponent, because, well, chances are he's gonna start making a great number of mistakes. Yeah, and in terms of opening for white, well, also you should try to find a way to have a flexible opening where you can just do pretty much the same thing, and it should be clear for you what to play. So, for example, the London system is incredibly popular exactly for this reason, because you basically don't care what your opponent does. You play d4, knight f3, bishop f4, e3, c3, bishop e3, and so on. And you don't care what he does, you're just doing the same thing. I'm not a big fan of London system personally, because I find it rather to be a boring opening, so to say, and I don't feel like it helps you to improve. Like, it's not really that rich in terms of the chess game. What I would recommend is called the Collie system. It's somewhat similar, you might say. So you still play d4. I would definitely recommend to start with the d4 instead of e4, because d4 is much simpler to grasp, is much simpler to learn. There are not so many lines you must memorize. And yeah, I hate it when you have to memorize lines as a beginner, because it's really stopping your chess progress. Never do that too much, because, well, you can study some main lines, but at the beginner level doesn't make any sense. Your opponent will definitely play something else, and then you're out of the book on move 3, and this memorizing didn't help you at all. Instead, you should try to understand those ideas. So once again, d4 is much more flexible, much less theory, and then you can play knight f3, e3 instead of bishop f4, and then you put your bishop on d3, and the second one goes to b2. And then you have a pretty good plan. I'm definitely gonna make a video about it. So yeah, once again, a good reason to subscribe to the channel. And yeah, that's it for the best opening. And then the next question is, at which level should you start to use multiple openings? I guess the answer is relatively simple. At the level you start to play over-the-board tournaments. Because once your opponents start to prepare against you, they start to look for your games in the database, and they see that you play the same opening every time. It's so easy for them to remember, to prepare against you. And then you need to fight against Stockfish, basically, for, I don't know, 20 moves, or maybe even 30. If you play the same line every time, you repeat the same moves, then it's so easy to prepare against you, and nobody wants to play against computer. So at this point, you start to prepare multiple openings, you start to be flexible, to be unpredictable for your opponents. But if you just play online, you shouldn't care about that, because you have one opening, your opponent never prepares against you. So if you understand one opening deeply, it would be 10 times better than you play all over the place. You play different opening every time, but you don't understand the ideas there, at least so deep. So yeah, unless you're playing the over-the-board tournament, I would definitely recommend you to stick 1 to 2 openings for each side, and try to dive deep into it, trying to understand the key ideas, key concepts there. So the next question is, opening you should know by heart for 1600 to 2000. Well, I guess I kind of already answered that question. Never just memorize the openings. Doesn't depend on the level. Like at my level, yeah, I definitely have to memorize some variations up to with 25 or 30, but yeah, you don't need to do that. At your level, the chances are incredibly high, like 98%, that at some point very early on in the game, your opponent will make a move that you haven't studied at all, and then you're suddenly out of the book. So understanding always beats the memorizing. Try to understand, to grasp those key concepts, and I'm gonna help you with that with my videos too. And then you would be able to react to your opponent's moves much better than you just memorize this move, and now your opponent suddenly makes another one, and you're thinking, well, is it still good or not? But even after the opening, okay, at some point your moves would be over and you're on your own. What to do after the opening? That's the most important question. And if you just memorize the lines, you're not gonna ever answer it. But instead, if you learn the key ideas, the key concepts, you will always find a way to go on with your game. So the next question is how to make a good repertoire for white. Well, yeah, of course, there are so many multiple openings, and some people like one type of them, other people like something else. And yeah, it's really just a question of taste, what you like, what you feel like playing. So for example, I pretty much never played the E4 openings. I just don't feel that it's for me, mainly because there are so much of theory, so many lines that I have to learn, and I hate it. Maybe because just I feel much better in terms of D4. It's much more flexible. It's much like positionally. It's not about those threats from the first move, trying to attack as fast as possible. But still, I pretty much enjoy it. So you should try different things, and you should see how it feels for you. And then once you see that something, you really feel it's for you, for example, the Sicilian defense, you like to attack, there are so many active opportunities for black, so you really like to play it, then you should try to dive deep into it. And if you really play a lot, one opening, learn a lot, then it's gonna serve you your whole life. And I mean, I know people that have learned one opening and played for 20, 30 years and really win multiple games, maybe hundreds of games with the same openings, because they understood it so well that they can play it against anybody. So the next question is, how do you study openings? Of course, a very important question. Like I already mentioned, you never want to just memorize the variations. You want to try to grasp the variations, try to understand it. And the way you do it, you can try to watch some videos on a certain opening, or maybe read a book about it, or if you can buy a course about it. But once again, if you're a beginner, I don't really want you to focus too much on the openings. Like one good video or one good book which explains you the main ideas is more than enough. And then you start playing your games, you try it in practice. And then at some point, your knowledge comes to an end, and you start to play your own game. And at some point, you of course make some mistakes. And so you then analyze it and trying to understand the right ideas, whether you have managed to implement it or not, what was the right thing or not. And with every game, you go one step further. And so your knowledge of the opening improves. And then at some point, you should give it time, because if you start a new opening, it usually happens that the first 10 games you're gonna lose most of it, because you need to adjust to this new opening. There are some new rules, some new principles, and at first you just don't understand it. It's normal. You need to try it, you need to play it. But with the time, if you see that it's completely not your thing, it doesn't correspond to your spirit, well, you should just quit it and try another one. But if you see that you like it in terms of your feelings throughout the game, in terms of your understanding, and also your results show that it's a cool opening, then you should just dive deep into it, trying to, once again, analyzing your games. It's always the best thing you can do. And then going one step further and understanding more and more of ideas. So the next questions are rather about my journey, my experience. So how much time you needed to become an international master? Well, I have started to play chess when I was 6 years old, and I became an international master at 20. So it took me 14 years to achieve that level. It wasn't easy at all. There was a lot of steps when a lot of people told me, well, you should just quit chess. It's not what you should do. Or some school teachers that told me, well, you're not Garry Kasparov, you will never achieve anything here, you should just focus on your studies instead. But somehow I felt that one day I'm gonna achieve something meaningful, and at some point becoming an international master became my main goal. And so I played a great number of tournaments. I have visited so many different countries trying to get those international master norms, and finally at 20 years of age I have achieved that, and I was totally happy about it. Okay, so the next question is, how did your rating improve? What was your best year in terms of improvement? So to do that, let's open my FIDE profile, and here we have this rating progress chart, and the blue one is the classical chess. And so I have got my ELO rating in 2012. It was around 2000, a bit less. And then, but yeah, at that time I already played for 8 years, so it's because I didn't have much of chance to play in international tournaments to get this rating in the first place. So I only got it in 2012, and then I started to improve it. So you could see that from here to here, so basically in 1 year I got to 200 points here. So that's quite a huge breakthrough, but remember that until 18, I guess, and until 2300 rating, you get like an advanced rating changes. So if you win games, you get much more points than older guys. It's made for kids that improve fast to get those rating points faster. And then here I lost some points in 2015, and then again I had like 2100, and in 2 years I got pretty much 250 points, which is quite a lot. Or maybe from here, from the end of 2016 till here, basically in 1 year, that's exactly this period when I was playing a lot, I was learning chess a lot, and I got those almost 150 points. And I got to this level 2400, which is in the international master level. And from that time, you can see that my rating is more or less consistent. I played not that much. Here it's like the Corona time, when obviously there were no tournaments, but I was mainly focused on my studies afterwards once I became the international master. And so my rating is more or less consistent here. And here you could see the Blitz rating. Last year it was crazy because in 1 month I got like 300 points, even more, because I have played a lot of tournaments in 1 month and have managed somehow to win a lot of games. But Blitz is another thing. I was always concentrating on the classical chess because that's where you can get the titles, and this Rapid and Blitz ratings, to be honest, they don't mean anything. The next question is, to get to your level, did you rely on chess books, chess videos, or chess coach? Well, back at the time, there was no chess videos, or at least I didn't know about it, so that was not my case at all. I did have a chess coach always. I have, a lot of them on my journey, and it really helped because, especially as a kid, it's so difficult to study on your own. Like, how the hell you know what to do, what to learn? So I always had a coach which was near me to help me with my journey, and not always it was a good coach. So it's not enough to have a coach. It should be a good person who understands what is good for you in your special case, given your background. And once I was happy to have such a person, I started to improve. I started to show some good results, and that was basically the main thing that helped me. Chess books, of course, was a part of that progress because, especially the endgame books. You just, if you really want to improve at chess, you must learn the endgames. And there are some wonderful chess endgame books, like the Dvoretsky endgames books are incredibly famous, and that is something I could sincerely recommend you study, but it's rather for advanced level. So if you're a beginner, don't bother. You're not gonna understand it. It's gonna be too painful. But at 2000 levels, that would be the best thing you can do to study those books. The next question is, how many hours did you invest in your chess study per week on different levels? Well, it's hard to say, but I have to be honest. I was never like one of the most hardworking guys. As far as I can remember, I was always lazy, and so I was playing the tournaments. I was analyzing my games. I was learning some end games, some openings from time to time. But it's not like I was studying like crazy 10 hours a day. When I have this inspiration, when I have a certain goal to achieve, like becoming a national chess champion, that was just my dream. Until 12 years, until under 12 years, under 14 years, 16, and so on. But I never achieved it. So because somehow I had too much stress trying to do that, and I played much lower than my real level was. just because of psychological difficulties. And then I had another goal of achieving international master, and that was also not that simple, but yeah, I had multiple opportunities, and so I was preparing a lot for those tournaments. In terms of hours, it's so difficult to say, but maybe it was like 2-3 hours a day. Like, I was never so crazy to study till I can never think, and I honestly don't think that it's gonna bring something. They say if you can do a productive 5 hours of work per day, it's more than enough. It's like more, it doesn't mean that it's useful for you. You just sit there and you continue to study, but yeah, it doesn't bring anything new. So especially if you are rather at the beginner level or maybe intermediate level, if you have time, 2 hours of practice a day would be tremendous, would be great for you to practice chess, to make some progress. But more, I don't know, you can do it for a few weeks and then you're gonna burn out and you're gonna quit chess altogether. Why would you do that? At some point, I was so fed up with chess, I couldn't play anymore, I couldn't learn anymore, so you never want to burn out. So yeah, it's better to do it on a consistent basis, a little bit, than doing a lot for a week and then quit the whole thing. Yeah, so that is my answer, and that concludes our questions. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was helpful for you. And once again, thank you very much on supporting this channel, supporting my journey, both in chess and on YouTube. I hope we are gonna build a great community where people are gonna support each other, where we are gonna improve our chess skills. And thank you very much. See you in the next videos.